The first cryptocurrency on the list. Market valuation of $580 billion and all-time high price of $69,000, and millions of followers from the world over. Bitcoin, the first cryptocurrency, is known as the digital gold. However, we seem to have forgotten that a 13-year journey came before all of this, though. You will know everything there is to know about the most well-known cryptocurrency ever by the time this video is over. I'm excited to have a lot to share with you. Think of the history of Bitcoin as a timeline. You could say that everything began in 2008. Fundamentally, 40 years of work by cryptographers and other scientists from around the world led to the creation of Bitcoin. The first electronic currency protocols were developed in 1983 by David Chaum and Stefan Brands. And the hashcash system, based on what is known as proof of work, was proposed by another researcher, Adam Back, in 1997. This approach was created to defend against spam and DDoS attacks. Wei Dai also merits praise for his 1998 concept for a cryptocurrency named B-Money, which was never released due to its shoddy design and little demand. But even back then, B-Money and Bitcoin shared a lot of similarities. 10 years later, on August 18, 2008, Anonym creates Bitcoin.org. A 9-page white paper titled Bitcoin, Peer-to-Peer Electronic Cash System is published on October 31 by a person going by the name Satoshi Nakamoto. On January 3, 2008, 2 months after generating the foundational and first, Genesis block, Satoshi receives 50 Bitcoin in his wallet. In addition to being the first ever, this block stands remarkable for another reason. On January 3, 2008, it was inscribed with the phrase, Chancellor on the verge of second bailout for banks. It's still hard to answer why Nakamoto did that without directly asking Satoshi, which doesn't seem to be possible. There are enigmatic message has specialized websites and a plethora of theories surrounding it. Some academics think the message has something to do with the global financial crisis of 2008. But this is only speculation. However, 9 days after the Genesis block is created, the first transaction in the Bitcoin network takes place. Satoshi Nakamoto sent BTC to Hal Finney, a computer scientist who created the second node of the network 2 days prior and later started mining Bitcoin. The first Bitcoin to dollar exchange rate is established by New Liberty Standard on October 5, 2009. Because owning Bitcoin would increase in value by $41 million with just a $1 investment, the mere concept of being able to purchase 1,300 BTC for $1 back then triggers extreme FOMO in the present. However, Bitcoin was once an unnoticed jewel covered in dust. Because of this, not everyone profited greatly from it. When something solid and physical is bought for Bitcoin, the first Bitcoin transaction takes place in May 2010. As you might have guessed, this was Bitcoin Pizza Day, a meme holiday that the Bitcoin community has been celebrating every May 22. $10,000 Bitcoin was spent by Laszlo Hania on 2 Papa John's pizzas. This is a bad story for more reasons than just the fact that someone paid $300 million in today's dollars for 2 pizzas. Laszlo was the one who developed the program that made it possible to mine Bitcoin with a GPU rather than the then common CPU. Because of how well his software worked, Satoshi wrote him a personal letter in which he berated him, saying that Bitcoin was still too young for such capabilities and that his software drastically sped up the mining process. This is Laszlo Hanik's contribution to the development of mining, yet most people will only know him as the guy who paid Bitcoin for a pizza. Many brand new crypto enthusiasts mistakenly think that Bitcoin's code is faultless, however this is far from the truth. A programming error results in a transaction worth 184 billion Bitcoin taking place on August 15, 2010. That occurred as a result of the network's limit of 21 million concurrent users. By establishing an emergency network, the bug is promptly located and fixed. For the record, that wasn't the only bug in Bitcoin has been found. Of course, nobody is flawless. The important thing is that everything was resolved quite quickly. Slush, the first mining pool ever, is created in 2011, and the value of Bitcoin exceeds $1 million. A few months after Bitcoin reaches parity with the US dollar, Time magazine publishes an insightful article headlined, Online Cash, that foresees Bitcoin as a threat to institutions and governments in February. Beginning with a variety of illicit operations, the infamous Silk Road marketplace gains a bad reputation due to its use of Bitcoin at the time. In 2011, Satoshi Nakamoto also breaks the silence before fading from view for a considerable amount of time. He writes that he now has other worries and that the project is in good hands in an email to a colleague. Soon after, the price of Bitcoin crosses the $10 threshold for the first time, and a few weeks later the first cryptocurrency robbery ever occurs. A member of the Bitcoin Talk forum going by the handle All in Vain posts a message stating, "I just been hacked, any help is welcome. 25000 BTC were taken." He continues by saying that I am totally devastated today. I just woke up to see a very large chunk of my Bitcoin balance gone. The theft occurred right after someone broke into my Slush's pool account. In a moment of sheer stupidity, I did not think that maybe my whole system was compromised. I merely thought that someone brute forced my Slush's pool password. Everyone is aware that the 25,000 Bitcoin are now the property of someone else, and that if you know the password, you have the cryptocurrency. A network fork that results in the development of the peer-to-peer, Litecoin, electronic payment system takes place in November 2011. Its source code is a fork of the Bitcoin Core client, with a few strange modifications and enhancements like quicker block formation, the usage of various hashing methods, and quicker payment processing. Even if it is still operating and ranks 20th in the CoinMarketCap, the top of cryptocurrencies, its younger brother could never overtake Bitcoin due to technical limitations. Vitalik Buterin, the man behind the theory, co-founded the first cryptocurrencies magazine in 2012, which will initially be digital and then print. The Bitcoin ecosystem eventually experiences the first halving, and instead of producing 50 Bitcoins every block, miners are now only able to create 25. Bitcoin starts to gain traction in the year 2013. Due to compatibility issues between Bitcoin Core versions 7 and 8, another fork happens in March. In spite of this, the market capitalization of Bitcoin hits $1 billion in March, and the cost of a single coin exceeds $100. In October, a few noteworthy things happen, like the Chinese company Baidu accepting Bitcoin. In Vancouver, the first recognized cryptocurrency exchange opens, and Silk Road shuts down within a few hours. The cost of Bitcoin decreases from $139 to $109. However, it has multiplied 10 times and crossed the $1,000 mark in less than a month. A single coin can now be used to purchase 1 ounce of gold. Bitcoin's reputation, in contrast to gold, creates a lot more doubts, and the People's Bank of China forbids Chinese financial institutions from using it. Baidu was forced to stop accepting cryptocurrencies. Since Satoshi Nakamoto hasn't spoken in 2014 for a while, there is room for investigations like Leah Goodman's, in which she asserts to have located Dorian Prentice, the actual founder of Bitcoin. 60-year-old Japanese-American Satoshi Nakamoto. But as soon as your article is out, Dorian vehemently denies having anything to do with Bitcoin. A message stating that he is not Dorian Nakamoto is then posted on the P2P Foundation forum by the real Satoshi Nakamoto. Since he hasn't been heard from since, this communication is crucial. Later in June, a nightmare happens. One of the Bitcoin mining pools, ghash.io, has the computing power to conduct a 51% attack. In essence, the pool strengthens to the point where it gains total dominance over the Bitcoin network, and this advantage lasts for more than a week. However, the pool voluntarily lowers its hold after hitting 55% on June 13 in order to maintain its reputation. Later, the popular animated series The Simpsons makes a reference to Bitcoin in one of its episodes. At around the same time, Hal Finney, who started the second node in the network and took part in the first Bitcoin transaction, passed away. Rest in peace. A 6-month wait was required for him to see Microsoft, with the exception of the first cryptocurrency that Finney and he shared in common. Now that 2015 has arrived, Bitcoin is going through a relatively calm and pleasant period. Prices change, but $2,800 remains a constant. We won't be able to go back to the infamous 2017, but wouldn't it be nice? Although the Bitcoin Core has been updated to versions 14 and then 15, and there are now more than 10,000 Bitcoin-related projects on GitHub, that isn't the main reason this year is so exciting. A number of Bitcoin-related currencies are created as a result of several planned forks. On the list, Bitcoin Cash is placed number 25. There have been several technological developments related to Bitcoin. We can't help but notice another groundbreaking development, not just for Bitcoin but for other cryptocurrencies as well, with the appearance of a protocol add-on dubbed SIGRID, which helps relieve network congestion and improve bandwidth without impacting block size. It's referred to as Lightning, and it enables the processing of a sizable portion of transactions outside of the blockchain, on an auxiliary network. Currently, this is referred to as off-chain transactions. Generally speaking, Bitcoin is expanding and adding a few more lines of code. The way that the financial world views this is changing as it happens. Most people recall 2017 more for the increase in Bitcoin prices than for the advancements in technology. By the end of the year, the market cap will surpass $300 billion after first reaching $5,000, then $10,000, and then $20,000. However, when Chicago's stock market launches Bitcoin futures trading for the first time in history, the phenomenon of cryptocurrencies becomes impossible to ignore. A bullish trend must eventually give place to a bearish trend, though, as nothing persists indefinitely. Exactly this occurs as 2018 gets underway and Bitcoin marks its 10th birthday. The Chinese government is reportedly planning to retaliate harshly against any cryptocurrency-related platforms, both domestically and abroad. As a result, Bitcoin's market value, which is less than $100 billion, closes the day at roughly $4,000. Nevertheless, coverage of Bitcoin in the media and news is expanding. The current chair of SEC, Gary Gensler, was teaching a course at MIT where his students are studying the foundations of economics and how it relates to blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies. The course is titled Blockchain and Money. It was recorded and accessible in the beginning of 2019 on MIT's official YouTube account. The price of Bitcoin drops by 85% to $3,500 and will never drop any lower. The greatest transaction ever recorded occurs. Whatever, someone moved 12,100 Bitcoin, which at the time was worth over $1 billion. The interesting part is that a transaction worth $1 billion only cost $3.90. The price to send that much money through conventional banking systems would be at least 3%, or almost $3 million. Such a difference could not help but catch the attention of many. The BED network at Cambridge University has 100 million users as of 2020, with 4,000 new users joining every day. Thus, 11 years after the first Genesis block, the era of greater cryptographic understanding has started. Here's what polls say. A recent survey found that 23% of Internet users have a solid understanding of what Bitcoin is, 23% haven't heard of it, and 7% have no idea. Now, it's 2020. Additionally, Australian computer scientist Craig Wright, who calls himself the man of Bitcoin, wants the BTC and BCH networks to discontinue using the Bitcoin register. He files litigation against Coinbase, alleging that they have harmed the public's perception of cryptocurrencies, because he is so convinced that he is Satoshi. In addition, Fortune magazine lists Bitcoin as one of the top 100 projects of the present, with a position of 90th by 2020 and a price of $29,000. The vast majority of crypto enthusiasts now join the group in 2021. On January 7th, Bitcoin reaches a new record high of $40,000, leading the market cap overall by 70% with a volume of $1 trillion. Although significant companies like Microsoft and PayPal have previously expressed interest in cryptocurrencies, something extraordinary happened in February, driving up the price of Bitcoin from $38 to $46 and then to $57,000. A narrative claims that Tesla, led by one of the most well-known crypto influencers of our day, has spent $1.5 billion on Bitcoin and intends to let users use the digital currency to pay for goods. The euphoria surrounding Tesla and Bitcoin merged and erupted into a news event that increased everything by 50%. The crypto market has doubled in size in just a few months, according to Bianco Research, who asserted this on April 6. As a result, the total capitalization of the crypto market is now more than that of the U.S. financial system. On April 14, Bitcoin reaches $64,000. It makes sense to assume that cryptocurrency should be legal in at least one nation when such big businesses start using it. Surprisingly, El Salvador is the first nation to do so, and its president is a moron, but Kelly will be remembered in the annals of cryptography as a brave fighter who defies the status quo. I would do everything to witness Satoshi's reaction when he learned the truth. He never did, however, return to the internet, as I already mentioned, but you should be aware that a memorial to him exists in Budapest. So now you are aware of his location in case you decide to pay him a visit. But rumor has it that he hasn't responded to a single query. Now it's 2021, Taproot is a Bitcoin update that uses multi-signature technology to reduce the gas cost and make transactions more user-private, adaptable, and scalable. Let's move on to year 2021. There are a few events, though, whose repercussions are still being felt as we turn to the next page of the calendar. Even though China was producing more than half of the world's Bitcoin at the time, China declared all crypto-related activities, including mining, trading, purchasing, and even storing Bitcoin, illegal in September 2021. A variety of cryptocurrency price monitoring websites, including Gecko CoinMarketCap and TradeView, will be blocked on September 28. Selling any mining equipment is completely outlawed on Alibaba, and in October the Chinese government added money to its list of forbidden operations. Bitcoin has significantly been impacted by all of this, falling from $43,000 on January 1 to $26,000 in just 6 months. Since we need to wait and see how everything turns out before making any judgments about this year, it is still too early to make any conclusions regarding 2022. For the time being, all I can say is that, despite Bitcoin's price being where it was in July 2021, the joy surrounding it isn't going away and even seems to be becoming stronger. I think it's time to decide whether Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency, a crypto asset, rat poison in a bubble, a hoax, a speculative instrument, the cash of terrorists and criminals, the future of the financial system, or just a protracted Ponzi scheme. All of those questions are challenging to respond to. Like the main character in today's video, they are currently paradoxical, philosophical, and everyday people. Nevertheless, that is our time to think about and wonder. So, do your own research, and write your own answer on the comment section. What is Bitcoin? Thanks for watching.